Liverpool turn their attentions to the Carabao Cup on Wednesday when they travel to face Bournemouth in the round of 16. Jurgen Klopp's side going so well in the Premier League and also the Europa League so far this season, but they want to also transfer that form to the domestic cup, which represents the first opportunity to get a trophy on board in this campaign. Now, they've got a real opportunity opening up for them here. Manchester City, who would have been the major favourites really to win this competition, as they have done so frequently in recent seasons, they've already been knocked out by Newcastle. And Liverpool, of course, are facing a Bournemouth side that have really, really struggled so far this season. You can't imagine that Iraola's focus will be on a domestic cup run this season. He really has to turn things around in the Premier League. So maybe Liverpool could even be coming up against a weakened side. Now, it's worth remembering that Jurgen Klopp has made a lot of changes for midweek fixtures so far this season. Obviously, Liverpool appearing in the Europa League, but also in the domestic cup so far. He has changed things up in terms of his team selection. So what I'm going to do here is have a go at picking out what I think the team will be for Wednesday's trip to Bournemouth, and some difficult selections in for the manager. So maybe you'll disagree with my selections, but do let me know what you think in the comments in terms of how you would go for this. Would you go stronger? Would you get this as close to the Premier League team as possible? Or are you going to really mix things up, maybe even make 11 changes? Anyway, I'm going to start with my team and what I think will happen, and I'll start as ever with the goalkeeper. Now, for me, this first choice is really a bit of a no-brainer. We know that Kevin Kelleher is back to fitness, and he appeared against Toulouse in the Europa League last time out, so I really do expect him to come back in for Alisson for this one. It's a real good opportunity for him to pick up sharpness. I thought against Toulouse you maybe saw, maybe not the best version of Kelleher that we've seen in recent seasons, but he's had an injury of late that he's only just back from, and he obviously hasn't played a lot of football or as much football as he would have liked because of that, so maybe that sharpness is not there. But again, going to Bournemouth there is, I think, a real opportunity for him to come back in the team and show what he's all about, and maybe pick up that sharpness, because we want to see him back to his best, because over the course of this season he should pick up plenty of games in the Cups, but also we want him there and ready to be the backup to Alisson in case of any potential injury. So hopefully Kelleher will start in goal for this one and pick up that sharpness, as I mentioned. Now, moving into the defence at right back, don't expect to see Trent Alexander-Arnold in this one, if I'm honest. I think we did see him against Toulouse, but again, I think that was just a chance for him to pick up a little bit more sharpness. Again, he was injured not too long ago, so maybe the manager thinks that getting him back in a rhythm was important. But for this one, maybe take him out and rest him, because I expect him to be in the team at Luton at the weekend. So maybe an opportunity opening up at right back for Joe Gomez to come in. I think he's been really impressive in his outings at right back. People say he's not a natural in that position, but I think he has been really, really good for Liverpool when he's come in there this season, particularly in that stint when Trent Alexander-Arnold was out of the team with injury. I thought Gomez was fantastic, and I think you could really trust him to come in and do a job here. Alongside him in defence, Joel Matip, again, he's been pushed out of the team because Konate's come back to full fitness this season, but he hasn't let Liverpool down when he has been used in this campaign. And again, these domestic cup competitions, also the Europa League, really good opportunities to keep him sharp, keep him ready in case there's any injuries going forward. So really do want to see him in the team for this one. Now, alongside him, obviously, we saw the Gomez and Matip partnership in the Toulouse game, the most recent midweek fixture that Liverpool had. But I think this is an opportunity for Jarell Quansah to come back in. I was disappointed not to see him against Toulouse, because I think he's really earned more starts really this season with how well he's done when he's come in, not just in the Cups, but also obviously in the Premier League when he was needed, when Liverpool had those injury and suspension problems at the heart of defence. And he's done so well. I really would like to see him sort of come back in for this one and get another opportunity to show what he's about. He's a really talented young player, and I've been so impressed with him. So hopefully, as I say, another opportunity for him to come in. Now, alongside him on the left-hand side of defence, we know Andy Robertson is still out injured, so there is that vacancy at left-back, which Kostas Tsimikas has stepped up into. But of course, when he comes into that sort of first-choice 11, you end up with a vacancy at the backup left-back. Now, we saw against Toulouse that it was Luke Chambers who came in, and for me, I'd like to see him get another start in this one. Now, there is a bit of competition there at left back in terms of those youngsters who are coming through and might be capable of starting in this game, and Callum Scanlon is of course the other option. But I think with Chambers, even though he's got the roughness around the edges that you would expect of any academy graduate stepping up into the first team, but he just looks a lot more physically ready than Scanlon for me for this type of football. He's much taller, much broader. He's not quite got Scanlon's absolutely electric pace, but I think For me, Chambers is just a little bit more developed physically in terms of dealing with adult football, particularly if Bournemouth like to hit diagonals into the corners. Chambers is probably better at getting up and winning those headers than maybe Scanlon, so I expect Chambers to start here. And a good opportunity for him. I really, really rate him. I think he's a fantastic young player and someone who's got a real opportunity. I wrote about him recently in terms of that Liverpool didn't just not send him out on loan over the summer because he had an injury, which he did in pre-season, sort of hurt him in terms of getting opportunities in pre-season, but it was actually a decision that Jurgen Klopp had made to keep Chambers about, potentially because he thought that opportunities like this might come up. So really excited to see a little bit more of him, because I think he's a really talented player and someone who could actually have an impact on the first team going forward. So let's hope we do see a little bit more of him. Now moving into midfield, that holding midfield role. Now Alexis McAllister has been the first choice so far this season, hasn't he, in that role in the Premier League, certainly. But I think we want to see here is Wataru Endo being given another chance to shine. I thought he was utterly fantastic against Toulouse. Probably his best performance for Liverpool so far, and also he gets the goal and the confidence boost of that as well. So I think with him being in the midweek team, as it were, I think he's one of the nailed-on starters for this one, and want to see a little bit more of him in that holding role, and hopefully he can keep impressing, because I think McAllister, there are still some question marks in terms of whether he's perfectly suited to every game in terms of that holding role. So Endo will really want to use this and push for more Premier League starts if he can by coming in and impressing again in this game. So I really do expect him to be in the starting 11 now. Elsewhere in the midfield, the left-hand side of those two number 8s, I think, again, this is probably an easy pick for the manager. Ryan Gravenberch has been in that spot in the Premier League because of his suspension to Curtis Jones. So I think Curtis Jones has been unlucky with getting the suspension he did for that tackle at Tottenham. But I think at the moment he's fallen into that midweek team, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for him to push back into the Premier League because Gravenberch has been doing so well. But I think Jones has just got to use opportunities like this to keep up his sharpness, to show what he's about, and really sort of keep knocking on the manager's door to prove that now his Premier League suspension is over, he should be coming back into that team and maybe edging Gravenberch out. As I say, really good opportunity for him to do that. Now alongside him in midfield, I know we've seen Harvey Elliott in the game against Toulouse was pushed into the front three, but I think maybe we could see him starting in a more familiar midfield position in this one. I think he's done really well off the bench so far this season for Liverpool. That's been where the biggest impact has come, and he's maybe not transferred that form into when he's been in the starting 11, maybe not looked quite as convincing, but I think he's shown and deserves that he should have these chances, these opportunities to impress. I mean, when he has come in for starts, yeah, like I say, he's maybe not been as impressive, but he's still been part of a team that is winning. He works his socks off constantly, and you can see his quality on the ball as well. Maybe that he finds that easier to express that when the game's a little broken and he's coming on as a substitute. But I think, again, you can't deny that he deserves starts and he should be coming in here. These are really good opportunities for him to pick up experience as well. So that's my midfield three there: Endo, Elliott and Jones. Now, moving into the front three, I think this is arguably the trickiest part of the team to select. Now, you've obviously got Luis Diaz is absent at the moment. He's back home dealing with that family situation. We wish him all the best and hope that is resolved really quickly. So we know he's not going to be involved in this game. But there's also been an injury to Ben Doak as well. So that sort of thins Jurgen Klopp's options in the forward line a little bit more as well. So these are difficult picks, I think, and he's really got to balance things out. And I think for that reason, because it's a tricky one, I've gone with maybe the controversial pick of putting Mohamed Salah in my starting 11 for this one. As I say, Ben Doak, we don't maybe expect him to be fit for this one, so that's a bit of a blow, because I would have had him starting on that right-hand side of the front three. But I think Salah, maybe we see him come in for this one. Jurgen Klopp has used him in the midweek team before. We saw him come in against Union SG earlier this season, so it could just be one where he repeats the trick of what he did that time, which was to just use Salah for 45 minutes. But I think because his options have been thinned a little bit, I still think even if it is just a 45-minute outing for Salah to maybe hopefully get the job done in the first half as well, I think we could be seeing him in the starting 11 for this one, even though if that is, a bit of a surprise really. Now, moving alongside him into that sort of centre forward role, for me it's important that Cody Gakpo picks up minutes in this one. We've seen him coming back from injury, and he's been a couple of substitute appearances where he's looked sharp, but I think he really needs to start here to really build up that fitness. He missed out on a start against Toulouse, so I think it'd be good to get him involved here. I think he really does need to get those minutes under his belt because he's such a good option for Liverpool going forward. I know Nunez has been playing so impressively in that centre forward role, but you need as much strength and depth as possible, and I think so getting Gakpo sharp and involved here is really, really important for me. Now on that left hand side, as I mentioned, Diaz unavailable. And I think Jota here, he's coming off the back of playing 90 minutes in midweek, then 60 minutes at the weekend. Maybe this is one where you don't want him involved from the start. Maybe you want him coming off the bench in this one if he's going to be involved at all. You don't want to put too many minutes in his legs and risk injury. So for me, it's maybe one where Darwin Nunez comes in for a start on the left-hand side. We don't see it as much this season as we did last season, but I think he should be considered a real option there on that left-hand side. We know he's got that threat. He cuts in, he plays the role like a striker, which is very similar to how we've seen Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah play as wingers in this Liverpool system. They're always trying to get inside and get into centre-forward positions to finish off chances. So as I say, because of Jurgen Klopp's hands being tied a little bit and we need to give Gakpo minutes in that central role, maybe it's time for Darwin Nunez to get a shout on the left-hand side. So that is my picks. That's my starting 11 for this game. It's what I believe the manager might do. Of course, you may massively disagree with everything I've said there, so please do let me know in the comments. Let me know what your starting 11 would look like. Could be completely different to my one. Maybe I've got it completely wrong. I often do, I'm sure. And as ever, please do like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos so you can keep track of them. I'll be on after the Bournemouth game to analyse that, and there's so many more games coming thick and fast to come, so please do keep across that, and I'll see you guys very soon.